Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are checking out the latest release, Stripr or Stripr. I'm not quite sure what's the correct pronunciation for this, but from Parallel 42 that dramatically changes your load, speed, operation, and the overall display of things that pop up. Stick around, guys. Make sure if you guys can that you join us at Flight Sim Expo 2023. That's right, Overkill Simulations is going to be present this year, guys, at the Lone Star Museum in Houston, Texas. If you guys are interested in joining us there, be sure to check down the description below. There is a coupon code that can save you guys a bit of money using my personal reference to get you there. Again, that'll save you a bit of cash in your Flight Sim Expo 2023 experience. This is going to be June 23rd through the 25th of 2023. Again, in Houston, Texas, at the Lone Star Flight Museum. I went a few years ago in Las Vegas, and they are an absolute great time. There's some very, very informative and educational seminars to help better your flight simming experience, as well as a ton of developers of both hardware and software that you guys actually get to try out, essentially a try before you buy experience, as well as talking with the developers themselves and finding out what the products are all about. So again, guys, it's going to be Flight Sim Expo 2023 in Houston, Texas. I hope to see you guys all there. Don't forget to use my coupon code that you can find down in the description below. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkill's tutorial guides or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides as well as any future guides that come along down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below, and thank you to all of my current subscribers. Okay, guys, so essentially what this piece of software does is it absolutely changes the load screen UI. Now, it can do a few more things that we're going to talk about here, and it can actually improve the load times by removing some of the steps that Microsoft Flight Simulator takes in order to launch. And you guys are going to see a full demonstration of that here in a minute when I launch the simulator. But a couple of the cool things that it does is it gives you a cinematic map that sort of changes screens and shows different locations, and it may show the location of the airport that you've selected as your departure. It may show your destination. It can show random points around the world. Also gives you a load time, load percentage, if you will, as you guys can see in the top right corner of the image shown on the screen here. As well as a few other features that we're going to talk about here again in just a second. So let's go ahead and get started into the application. This is going to be a pretty short video. There's not a ton to go over, but it's a pretty nifty program in my opinion. So let's go ahead and get started here. All right, so once you download it and purchase it, download it, etc., you actually just have an executable. This is all that you have to maintain. So you just put this somewhere where you want to keep it. Right now it's just in my downloads directory. We'll change that later. But then what you get is you get the install option, tells you which version that you're looking for. Now, if it says that it can't find it, what you do is hit detect and install, and then it will tell you to try to launch the simulator, and that gives it everything it needs to know. So first off, we can have our interface. This is all the stuff that it can actually do right from the start. So enable cinematic zoom, so the maps will slowly move in and zoom in as it's loading. ICAO names, airport location, like we'll just throw all this stuff on here and you guys can see all the information that I have. Airport information, which airports do you want it to show? Do you want to do everything? Do you only want to do some? Do you want to do it by region, etc.? And then the sim brief information if you wanted to display your route and things like that. Okay. Now, a couple of other things that I want to talk about are these here. This is where you could actually save some time on your load screen. Okay, so on the load screen, you can remove the MSFS intros, so the big Asobo pop-up, thing like that. Undesirable pop-ups such as, last time this was launched, it was, do you want it to run it in safe mode, etc. Or, following a crash. Or, for example, the internet connectivity. You guys know, like, the constant pop-ups that say you have lost connection to the network, you have reconnected, you've lost connection, you're reconnected. I know that used to be a big deal sometimes. And then skip the sim update screen. So what this one does here is if there is an update to Microsoft Flight Simulator, you are no longer forced to update the sim by checking this box. This is a big one. If you're someone who wants to wait a few days to see if there's any bugs or people start reporting serious crashes and all kinds of major issues, you can check this box and it will suppress the installation of an update until you're ready. Then you can just launch the configurator, uncheck that box, launch your sim again, and proceed with the installation of an update. That's a huge one because you are no longer being forced to run the update. Now, I'm not quite sure what that will do as far as network connectivity in the future, whether or not that will pose any problems moving forward, and we really won't know until there's a new update for Microsoft Flight Simulator. But again, what this gives you is the option to, assuming it works, I mean, they've obviously tested this, but what that does is, Microsoft Sim Update 13 releases, right? And you want to wait a few days before you update to Sim Update 13. You want to see what the community feedback is. Are everyone having a whole bunch of issues like I previously stated? You can check this box and it will suppress that installation and just keep it on the version that you're currently on. And I believe there are other ways to roll back at current, but I believe they're more difficult. So I'm sure that it will work just fine, but again, we won't really know until there is a new sim update, but I really like the idea of it. I like the pop-ups being suppressed, and I like skipping the intro. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch the simulator and show you guys how quickly it launches and what you can expect. So let's go ahead and do that. So here she comes. And I'm going to stay relatively quiet. There isn't a whole lot to talk about at this point. I just want you guys to witness, how fast the sim loads, how quickly we get to the dashboard. There is definitely an improvement on how quickly it loads. If you guys are interested in my computer hardware, it is listed down in the description below. All right, so this is where the splash screen would normally pop up, a Sobo, all that stuff. That is being suppressed and skipped. There's the default splash screen. Now I'll do the checking for updates still, but it won't ever prompt me to do the actual update. That's what it's suppressing. And again, so here we are. This is one of the Stripr, again, not sure which one's actually accurate, but you can see the cinematic entry, you can see the load time up here, and you can see the airport ICAO. And what's kind of cool about this is, like, if you're wondering, where should I fly today? And you go, wow, that looks like a really pretty spot. There's your information right there. Do it, And let's see, let's try something. So it says to hold tab, see airport history. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. And that's all the airports that I've been to recently. I'm going to try to hold that again. That's probably slowing down the launch time, so I'm probably screwing up that demonstration for you guys, but I actually never caught that before. Oh, I think I made it mad. Oh, that's my FSU IPC7 launching. That's normal. But I might have pissed the simulator off with that. So that might be something to be considerate of. Oh, nope, there it goes. Didn't care. Just went right back. There it goes. What happens if I click? Okay, so I can't cycle through those, but I can still see the history of recent airports, I guess. Okay, so this really wasn't a fair demo of the load time. And at the end of the video, I will launch this one more time so that way you guys can see it. So it's showing 56%, but I can tell you right now we're about to hit the dashboard. And again, I can't stress enough, I cannot call that a fair test of the launch time because I was playing around with the tab key and it didn't seem to enjoy that. But, so like now, we'll pick anywhere. Come down Tucson, it's always my primary location. Launch it, hit it, go. Gives you your live weather information right there, 240, 15 knots. Damn it, that means 29 or 8 is our runway. It's always at the end. There's our location right there. That's Tucson. So it's showing our departure field. The actual parking location of the aircraft. So this particular section, I can't see where they would make anything any faster, but it's definitely better to look at. Certainly more appealing to the eye than just staring at the usual load screens. Gives you something a bit different, so I do appreciate that aspect, but loading into the flight itself, I can't see where this would increase any kind of performance. And like I said, I'm not sure that it really does a lot for the load menu, but there was some change previously. And like I said, once we get in here, I'll exit out and we'll relaunch it one more time as a final talk on. It is impressive how long Microsoft Flight Simulator takes to load. But there we go. Okay. So we're in our plane. And that's it from the standpoint, once you're in the plane, it's no longer, in effect. But let's go ahead and I'm going to close it all back down again. And now we'll give it a genuine start time to make sure that I don't make it mad. All right, so here it comes again, just for your final review to decide whether or not it actually changes the load time of the sim. This time I won't hold the damn tab key and make it mad because I'm pretty sure that definitely did that. So this is one of those ones for $14, you're going to have to ask yourself, how much are these changes really worth to you? I think the biggest advantage, as I stated previously, is definitely going to be that update suppression, not having to actually be forced into the update. And then the pop-up updates or the pop-up suppressions. I don't have that much anymore, but I want to say it was like Sim Update 10 or 11. I was getting those, you have lost connection to the network, like crazy. I remember I was getting them just an obscene amount of time. So that would have been nice to have back then. And then very rarely is it ever actually impacting when it does quote unquote disconnect. So it really is more of a bother, especially given the fact that you have to click a button to make it go away. It'd be one thing if it just popped up for a second and faded out, but it doesn't. Excuse me. So now we're just sort of seeing what the difference in time is. I'm not touching anything this time. But no matter what, I definitely prefer this over the default screens. It's definitely nice. And by the way, take that into consideration. FSUI PC7 launching mid dashboard. But I definitely prefer this. It's like I said, definitely a lot nicer to look at. It's kind of fun looking at the scenery and having something different to just keep the mind busy while you wait for the damn thing to load. Hopefully, the load time is something that Microsoft and Asobo are able to iron out as time continues on. I know there's a lot to process, especially when you're talking about, satellite photogrammetry, imagery. That's obviously going to take some time to generate. I think we're about to hit it. We'll see. Yep, here comes the dashboard. I think it's right at like 81. Boom, there it is. So I don't know that that was significantly faster. It's probably more placebo than anything as far as it being faster. So probably should take that definitely with a grain of salt. But the overall performance of the application, the tools and features that it provides for $14 US, in my opinion, I think was well worth it. That's definitely a very simple application. There's also an update to it that unfortunately I literally just saw the email on as I'm sitting here talking to you guys. So some of those things may have been improved and changed. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about the Stripr application. And again, if you guys are interested, you can find it in the link in the description below, found at Parallel 42 Direct. So directly from their website, you can grab it. As always, guys, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.